Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining Tech Talk with Optoma Technology today. We're going to talk about our interactive flat panels for education and business purposes. My name is Bob Gettner, and joining me today is Roland Hamilton. We're sales engineers with Optoma Tech. Today, we're going to talk a little bit, actually the main focus here is going to be giving a live demonstration of the interactive flat panel. I will spend a good amount of time doing that. We'll also mention different ways that we help you to engage with the classroom with the technology, and then offer information about our educator support that we supply for pricing and programs. And then toward the end, we'll give you a chance to win a $100 gift card. We're going to talk about many topics today, so pay attention. The quiz will be something related to the presentation, the demo that is being done today. And all you'll need to do is open up the Q&A box and then type your answer in. We're also going to have a couple trial questions, and then toward the end, we'll have the final question in about a half hour when we get to it. So the whole purpose behind our interactive flat panels is to help you to create content that's engaging for your audience and to better connect and inspire students and coworkers. Also, we had a lot of feedback that we received from teachers at trade shows and also in conversations, and we added many features to these products that are really based on the feedback we gained from teachers and from the IT professionals at the schools. So I'm really excited about some of the new features on these products. So now Roland is going to kick off a video demonstration of the product.
Yeah, hi everybody, Roland Hamilton, Tech Sales Optoma. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. And yeah, okay, so we're here to talk about the 5 Series Creative Touch interactive boards from Optoma. Typically, when we give a demo of this solution, we can talk about all the features for about an hour. So for the time we have on this particular webinar, I'm really trying to condense it down to just the key features, the exciting stuff, the feature sets and performance that you're not going to find from other solutions and providers in this space. Before we get into the key features and benefits, just to kind of take a step back. So, not sure if you've seen Optoma Creative Touch before, want to just give you some of the basics so you understand what the product is and how it's used. So the Creative Touch interactive boards from Optoma are available in 3 sizes, 65, 75, and 86-inch diagonal. Here in my home office, I have a 65-inch board. When I stand in front of it, it looks, the camera makes it look smaller, like it's a 55-inch or something, but this 65-inch panel is about 5 feet wide. And again, the other sizes are 75 and 86-inch diagonal. All 3 sizes are 4K resolution, 4K UHD. So excellent picture quality, crisp, vivid colors. Whether you put these in front of people doing video editing or CAD drawing, everybody's going to be impressed with the video quality. They're fantastic displays in and of themselves, and they're commercial panels, so they're very bright, much brighter than the consumer television sets you might be used to. And if your school or organization is considering transitioning from projectors, maybe you've used projectors in your classroom for some years now, these are going to be much brighter, and you're not going to have to worry about closing shades and controlling lighting. You can go right from, full lights on viewing and use the board without worrying about lighting. Before I forget, I'll point out that there are stereo speakers. There's 16-watt stereo sound built into this unit, so more than enough sound for your typical classroom, conference room type of size space. If you get into a room, with a divider, and now you're opening it up to a room of 40 or 50 feet, you'll probably need a supporting sound system to get even sound levels throughout the space. But I'll point out that we do offer analog and digital audio out. So your tech folks can integrate this really nicely with your PA system or DSP and amplification, whatever you've got going on. And I'll also point out that being commercial panels, these are quite durable. The case on these units is all metal. The only plastic on the outside is really the power button on the front and the Wi-Fi antenna. Let me get a nice red color here. And these are 40-point touchscreens. So it's IR touch technology. So we include pens, but you don't have to use a special pen. The board will respond to your finger. It'll respond to the included pens, but you can also use anything as a stylus. Here's a Sharpie with the cap on, and the board will respond to it. And there's never any calibration needed. And I'll explain a little more about how it's plug and play with all the major computer operating systems. So when you connect your external devices, or if you're using the built-in Android system, you never have to worry about touch calibration. It's fast, accurate. It just works as you would expect. And concerning durability, I'll point out that the glass on these boards is 7H hardness rated anti-glare, anti-fingerprint tempered glass. So fingerprints wipe off of it very easily using a microfiber cloth. But to the durability, I want to demo how I can take my regular set of keys and take my door key, and I'm not afraid of scratching the surface. And you see the markup going on screen there. I'm actually scratching the screen, but the screen is quite scratch resistant. 7H hardness rating is effectively the equivalent of quartz crystal. So these are very durable panels. The main modes of use. So there are several ways you can use this board. Out of the box, think of it like a giant Android tablet. We've built in a proprietary Android-based operating system. Here we see the app screen, the app menu. We preload our core applications, the apps we think everybody's going to need, but we make a further selection of applications available from our Optoma app marketplace. We have our own app store, and that's a big differentiator from many of the other solution providers in this space. Many of them just preload all the apps they have, and when you get the board and turn it on, those are the apps, and that's what you get, no more, no less. We preload our core applications and then make a further selection of apps available from our app store. I've installed not all of them, but some of the most popular ones here. I'll point out that we do offer all the major video teleconference apps. So Zoom, Skype, Teams, Cisco WebEx, and GoToMeeting are all available. And some of the other more popular applications, Wikipedia, Prime Video, Google Earth, Kahoot, Quizzes is also available. Wall Street Journal, BBC News, lots of content apps that are great for education as well as corporate use, whether it's K-12 or higher ed. I will point out that we don't charge for any of this software. When you buy the solution, you buy your boards, everything's included. We don't charge for any updates. So we do roll out updates typically once a quarter. And ongoing support of these boards software-wise is provided. I will throw in a little disclaimer. A couple of the features we're going to show today will be available with our next firmware update. So we're planning on rolling out a firmware update. I believe it's scheduled for later this month, but could always be delayed for one reason or another. But just want to throw out that a couple of the features that I'm going to show today will be coming very soon. But most of them, if you already have some of these boards, you'll see that you already have the vast majority of what I'm going to show you. So in addition to the Android operating system, you can also connect your external computers. Here I have a Windows 10 laptop connected. I'm running some 3D anatomy software, but we are plug and play compatible with Windows, Mac OS, Chrome OS, as well as Linux operating systems. Like in your STEM lab, if you wanted to connect Raspberry Pi, something of that nature, we're plug and play with all of these. Windows particularly recognizes multi-touch. So in this case, one finger rotates the model, two fingers moves the model, and I can also pinch to zoom like I'm used to on a phone or tablet. And the third mode of use is slotting computers. We sell an i5 and an i7 OPS card PC that physically install in the side of the board. It's a super clean installation, basically turns the Creative Touch into a giant Windows 10 or Windows 11 all-in-one solution. So going back to the Android system, want to show you most of the stuff we're going to show you is in the Android, particularly Creative Board. Creative Board is our digital whiteboard app. Let me move this out of the way and I'll circle this for you. Here's Creative Board. It's our digital whiteboard application. But before we get there, I want to point out that the home screen is customizable. If I go into the settings menu here, I can change my wallpaper to something else. Let's select a different wallpaper. And I can also customize the icons. Like for example, if these 6 icons persist on the home screen, if I don't want the browser here, for example, I can just press and hold it, and I get an option to change it to another one of the apps that's installed on the board. So now I've got the Zoom app, if that's what I want as one of my options on my home screen. And lots of the menus are customizable. In the side toolbar, I've got some quick launch buttons to some of the, call them educational widgets, you know, a screen recorder, cropping snip tool, pen tools, and we'll go into 1 or 2 of the more pertinent features in that regard. But understand that most of the menus in the board are customizable. And before we get into Creative Board, I want to also point out the quick launch pen holder. So over here on the right side of my screen, this looks like it could be a Wi-Fi antenna or something of that nature. It's actually a pen holder, an active pen holder. We include 2 pens with the board. The pens have spots on the front bezel that they'll stick to, so I can easily store the pen in a couple spots right up on the front. But the active pen holder performs certain functions, removing the pen from the holder, performs certain functions. You can program it, but by default, pulling the pen from the holder is going to launch Creative Board. So you can start any lesson in seconds effectively just by removing the pen from the holder. And depending on what application you're in, it'll perform a little differently. So if I'm watching a movie or like watching a video, pulling the pen launches screen annotation. So the active pen holder is a really fantastic feature. Makes it very easy to use, especially for people who are maybe afraid of technology or less tech savvy. But starting on the home screen, I want to point out the single sign-on option. So we have a single sign-on button primarily for Google, your Google account. You can sign into an account you create through Optoma, but most education users, you know, Google Classroom, using Google Drive services and email are very popular in education. And we've put a Google single sign-on option right on the home screen. And the QR code is by far and away the easiest way to sign into Google. So I've got the QR code on screen. I'm just going to take my camera on my phone, scan that QR code, takes me to a website, prompts me to sign in. And in fact, because I'm signed into my Google account on my phone, it just automatically pushed the sign-on through to the board. So now up at the top, I'm signed into Google. And in just a moment, you're going to see the functionality that opens up for me. So here we are in Creative Board. It's our digital whiteboard space. Want to start by pointing out that the backgrounds are customizable. I can choose background colors, right? I like these gray tones because they're easy on the eyes and they provide high contrast on camera, but you can choose any number of colors here as your background, varying gradients from light to dark. In addition to background colors, we also have background templates pre-made. Simple things like ruled line, graph paper, some process flowcharts, musical staff, sports fields or pitches, into more advanced stuff. And we've recently added a whole load of, a whole extended selection of templates: human anatomy, sciences, geography, reading, really focused on K-12, but also quite applicable to higher education as well. You see the periodic table and intracellular structure, DNA, different climates and terrains you might find. So the selection of preloaded templates is really rich, and you're not limited to the selection of preloaded templates. You can always, the preloaded templates are basically 16:9 images. So whether you have existing content from a previous learning management system your organization was engaged with, or you want to just make your own templates in PowerPoint, for example, you can design your own background, save it as a 16:9 image, and it's very easy to load into the system. So back to a plain background, I want to talk about the floating toolbar, called the floating toolbar because it can be positioned anywhere on screen. I'd like to point out that the floating toolbar will snap to a point. So if I want it over here, I can just press and hold, and the floating toolbar will snap. Maybe I need to select it thinks I'm trying to write. Yeah, I just needed to select the pointer. Just press and hold, and the floating toolbar will snap anywhere you want it on screen. The pens we include, I mentioned that you don't have to use the pens, and you don't. You can use a finger to write on the board, or a marker, stylus, whatever you want. Anything will write on the board essentially, but the pens have specific functions and advantages because they're dual-sided. There's a fine point and a broad point, and either point can be programmed to perform a specific function on the whiteboard. And when I say programmed, it's not difficult. You basically just select what you want it to do. So if I'm using the fine point and I want, let's get a nice bright red color, and I want it to be a thick marker, here's my red thick marker. If I want to program the other side to be a highlighter, I just take the other side of the pen and select, let's get a nice bright blue highlighter. So now I've got my red pen on one side, flip the pen, and I've got a blue highlighter. And you can just go back and forth between the two. I could also program either side, but probably the thick side. I'll program it to act as an eraser. So on one side of my pen, I can start writing, right? No, I made a mistake, just flip the pen and erase. So the dual-sided pen is a really handy feature. Also, I'll point out the palm erase feature. If you just put a palm flat on screen, you can turn that into a bigger eraser. But for fine points, if you're doing fine shapes and you mess something up, having the fine eraser is very handy as well. Also part of the floating toolbar, we have a whole selection of 2D and 3D shapes. I've actually set up a background here with, let's minimize this. Here you see some of the, I've just loaded a few of the 3D shapes. We also have a protractor and a ruler function. It can help you to draw straight lines, draw lines at certain angles. So math teachers in particular are going to really love this. It's really easy to create engaging whiteboard sessions, and everything is saved on the cloud for you. So everything we've shown you, none of this is particularly groundbreaking, what we've shown you so far. In some form or another, we've offered this in the past. Let's get to the fantastic new features. I am signed into Google, and I have created a dummy class called Pre-Algebra. And you see from this quick launch menu, embedded into my whiteboard space, embedded into Creative Board, is a Google Classroom menu. And at the touch of a button, all my Google Classroom materials instantly become available. So here is a quiz, happens to be a Google form. It's on linear functions. In fact, let me zoom my screen, you can see it a little better. So here's a Google form that I've brought in, and this window can be manipulated, moved around, and I can continue to do my markup or whatever it is I want to do in the rest of the space, right? And I can grab this window, move it, resize it. In addition to the Google Classroom functionality, which is groundbreaking. As far as I know, we're the only solution provider in this space to offer integrated Google Classroom menu and functionality right within the whiteboard space. In addition to Google Classroom, we've also embedded a standard browser, right? Same as the Google Classroom, I can resize this, position it on screen wherever I want, but there's another unique feature here. I can drag and drop images and video content right from the browser window into my whiteboard space. So I just Google searched for Lincoln. I want a picture of Abraham Lincoln. If I want one of these images, I simply press and hold here, and I'm able to now drag and drop that image onto the whiteboard space, which I can resize, move around, and then perform markup right on top of it. So it's super easy to gather engaging content, at the tip of at your fingertips, search for whatever you're looking for, whether it's, pictures of pretty much anything. In the more, higher grades, more advanced subjects, you could search for diagrams of molecules, and all sorts of content is now available right at your fingertips. In addition, let me just clean some of this stuff up. I'll just grab all this and delete it very easily. We have also embedded a camera window. That is not the camera I want. I want my document camera, right? So embedded camera window, which I can resize and move around on screen. This happens to be a document camera that's focused on a $5 bill. That'll refocus in just a second, but having that camera window gives me the ability to utilize both USB cameras. I've got a USB camera It's an Optoma 4K webcam up on top of my board. I could bring up that video, particularly if I'm teaching a more advanced course in the higher grades, probably, and I'm going to spend a lot of time writing on the board. It's handy to be able to give your students a view of your face while you look at the board, so you don't feel like you have to constantly turn around to speak to the class. So having the built-in camera window is a fantastic option. Another feature I'll show you briefly that is one of the ones that's coming very soon in our next firmware update. We are adding handwriting recognition. So I've written hello here. Hopefully it's legible. It is legible. There we go. So the board has just converted my sloppy handwriting into nice, easy to read text. So handwriting recognition is another fantastic feature that we're adding, which should be released later this month, barring any delay. The other big piece of Creative Board that we'd like to tell you about and kind of sneak peek for you. It's not released now. Again, hopefully coming later this month. As of right now, you can link multiple boards via the cloud and collaborate on simultaneous sessions across multiple boards. You can do that today if you have, you know, a board in one classroom and another board in a classroom down the hall, or in the other side of the school, or on the other side of your district, or around the world. You can collaborate real time between multiple Creative Touch boards. But we are in the process, we're in the final testing of a web interface where you can basically log on through a browser window and access the same whiteboard space. And not only can you, log on from a browser and manipulate and view and edit the space, but you can do it when they're without a board. So the Google account that I'm signed into my account here. I could go to the website and sign into the account on my own time, at home or in my office time, sign in, create all my layouts, build out all my slides basically. And then when I log into the board, everything's already prepared for me. So really powerful features. The features we have today are fantastic, and we're building upon it, and more exciting stuff is coming all the time, really. The other thing I'll point out about our whiteboard space is it's multi-page and infinite canvas. So multi-page in the sense that I can add another page here, and we happen to be on page 5, and I can add a page 6, and then I can jump back and forth between those pages. So I have multi-page, and they're also infinite canvas in the sense that I can move this and get myself more space. And here we have more space, and I can keep expanding it, or I can pinch to zoom it. And there, what just took up the whole screen is now just a small portion of the screen. So for education, one way to implement this and use it, an entire course over the course of a term or a semester can become one whiteboard file. All the notes for an entire course can go into one file. So as each class session progresses, you can expand and have more space to take notes. And then next week's class, or when class comes around again on Thursday, start a new page. And at the end of semester, you have all your pages, and you can keep expanding as you need more space within a particular lesson. So really feature rich, easy to use, really just what the teachers asked for, basically. As Bob mentioned at the beginning, teacher-led technology is one of our themes for this solution. We listened at trade shows, we listened during trainings and service interactions, and we've gathered all that feedback and really tried to build as much of the requested functions as possible into the board. Now we are going to, let's add to this, y equals square root of x. So here we have a graphical representation of a function, and we want to give a quiz. And all the viewers at home can participate in this because we have a feature called AirShare. It's basically an audience collaboration tool which works via the cloud. So here, I'm going to open up this QR code, and I'm going to scan the QR code with my camera, and you can do the same. Let me make this bigger so it'll be easier to scan. Hopefully you can scan it on your monitor. I'm going to go ahead and scan this. It's going to open a web page. On that web page, it's asking me to input my name. I'm just going to put in my first name, and I'll give it a moment so that the folks at home can, if you wish, you don't have to participate. If you'd like to participate, scan the QR code. I'll leave it up for another 2-1 seconds. Okay, and we have some users join. We have a few people joined here. So let's enter the class. Now take a good look at this function. Here we have a graphical representation of one of these functions, and we're going to give a single choice quiz. So let's begin. And it's time to answer. So just using the on-screen keys, let's submit an answer. I'm going to choose an answer here. Submitted successfully, and the teacher can see real time how much time has gone by, who has responded. So there's immediate feedback. The teacher sees what's going on in the class. There's only one person has yet to respond. Okay, everybody's answered. Let's go ahead and click finish. And there's a graph. There's a breakdown of who answered how right on top of the original content. And if I click on one of these columns, I can see who chose answer A, who chose answer B, and I have an immediate breakdown percentage-wise of how the class responded. I can export this. I can save this basically, and it creates an Excel file which includes a snapshot of the original content as well as a breakdown of exactly how the class responded, line item per name, how much time it took them to respond. So great for record keeping. It's engaging for your students. It's easy for the teacher. It's powerful. The other advantage, is instant feedback for the teacher. So if I'm giving this class on this sign function or whatever the case is, I can see immediately if the class is getting it or not. Also, if a particular number of students, say a particular number of students chose A, which is a wrong answer, right? I can stop and explain why A is not the right answer. C is the right answer. This is not y equals x squared. Y equals x squared would look something completely different. So it really powerful in, not only being engaging for the class, but very useful for the teacher at the time and, down the road. You can compile those results and makes your record keeping easier. There are a couple other functions in the AirShare. There's a responder tool. It's almost like a Jeopardy buzzer. The first student to hit the button gets selected. There's you can pull names out of the hat at random. So very easy to conduct your class in a non-biased manner. Completely removes teacher decision in that sense. We have 20 people in the class, and the computer is going to pick a couple names at random. So that's a handy feature. And you can also turn on and off the ability for students to be able to send text messages up to the screen. So probably not something you'd allow in middle school, but if you're, teaching junior college or something, you may want to use that functionality. Optoma Management Suite. So want to touch on OMS. OMS, Optoma Management Suite, is our command and control platform, and it's available in two flavors. There's a local only version, which is PC software, and there's a cloud version, which is essentially a web interface through a website. You log on to the website, sign into your account, your board is paired to your account, and not only your board, OMS is compatible with most of our current projectors as well. So if you have some of your classrooms are interactive boards, some of your classrooms still have projectors, you can keep the projectors in the mix, and command and control them. And we're also compatible, OMS is also compatible, the local version, with third-party projectors via PJ Link. So if you have legacy, older classrooms with some old equipment, you can still keep them in the OMS umbrella. Optoma Management Suite lets you command and control. So you can turn on the boards, turn off the boards, schedule power on and power off. If you want everything to shut down at 5 p.m. every day, very easy to program. You can group all your displays. So first floor, second floor, east wing, west wing. And then when you want to turn on a group of boards, you've already done that work up front. So you can just select second floor, west wing, whatever it is you want to do. Two of the biggest, the most advantageous features are trouble response. So the IT department can get an email if a board drops off the internet. So if my board goes offline, the admins or the IT folks get an email saying, hey, room 105, the board is no longer online, and they can go in and proactively address the problem before a teacher goes to use it and finds out there's a problem. So it really lets you create a better, more uptime, more efficient, and a better end user experience in your organization. One of the big things, particularly requested by schools, is broadcast messaging. And I'm going to demo that for you right now. Bear with me. Let me just manipulate my browser window a little bigger on my screen here. I'm just going to log in. And so I'm logging in right now to the web interface. You can't see it. It's just a simple website. And I'm going to choose this interactive board. And I want to send a broadcast message up to the board. It's going to be a media message. I want to send a full screen image. And let me just select the file that I want to send. Here we go. And I can set the duration. So if it's something, if I want it up there for 10 minutes, I can set it to be up there for 10 minutes. I just want to send this one to go up for 10 seconds. So here I go. I'm sending a message to the board. It's going to take over the screen and display this message for 10 seconds. Today's assembly has been postponed until further notice. We apologize and appreciate your patience. So, and if the boards are off, you can send a command first to turn everything on and send a message. So simple things like assembly canceled. And I think you can see how it would be quite useful for more urgent emergency situations as well. So that's Optoma Management Suite. We're running out of time, but really quickly, I also want to point out that we do offer a screen record function. So here's my little screen record widget that I can position anywhere on screen that I want. And just by hitting record, it's going to start capturing a full screen video. It'll also capture the audio. If I'm playing a YouTube video or something, that audio will be embedded. If I have my webcam connected, I can choose to or choose not to have an embedded picture-in-picture in the video. So it'll capture what's coming from the webcam and embed that as a little picture-in-picture. So very easy to make videos, promotional videos or content for students who missed class. Can watch the video later, or instructions for substitute teachers, things of that nature. I think you can use your imagination and see how the video tools are very handy. Another feature, there's a ton of little widgets that persist across the entire system. There's a spotlight tool. People seem to like this one. I can pinch to zoom this and use it to keep focus where I want it on screen. Another one that I personally use just about every day is the countdown timer. We're only going to talk about this topic for another 5 minutes, and there's my timer running. If I touch elsewhere, it's going to minimize, and I can float that little timer wherever I want, right? The fantastic thing about all these overlay tools is that they persist across the whole system. So let me jump back over to my Windows 10 laptop that's connected, and here's my timer. Here's my screen record button, still ready to go. So all these tools persist across the entire platform, and you're not locked into any one of these modes of use. You can jump back and forth at any time. While we're here on the computer, so this is my Windows 10 laptop, I'll point out that the active pen holder here is going to launch screen annotation for me, right? So to sum it up, I'd say that the benefits of the Optoma solution, the benefits of Creative Touch by Optoma are flexibility, ease of use, and the powerful software tools. Flexibility in the sense that you've got the built-in Android. You can connect your external computers, whether it's Windows, Mac, Chrome, Linux. We sell the slotting computers as well. So there's very flexible. You can do a whole lot with these boards, but they're also very easy to use. Here I've got my connected computer. If I'm a teacher and maybe I'm not so tech savvy, I've already mastered my computer. I know all the files and the programs. There's not much to learn. It's functioning like a big touch screen for my computer. And when I want to write on screen, I pick up the pen from the holder and I can start writing on screen. It's that easy, right? So very easy to use. And we've built in the powerful software tools like we showed you with the AirShare, audience polling via the cloud. And there's a ton of these widgets. We don't have time to go through them all, but there's a nice little demo for you. We hope you've enjoyed it. Let me get us back to the presentation. Bear with me just a moment. I've got a few windows up on screen that I need to close. So let's start screen share again, and we'll go back into the presentation, and I'll turn it back to Bob for a moment.
Great, thanks, Roland. Yeah, it's very easy to use interactive flat panel. There's a lot of features, so you can start very basic and get right into the creative board and start there, and it's very easy to use. And then get as imaginative as you'd like to and add a lot of features to it and use your own software on the system as well. I'd like to talk a little bit about the interactive flat panel accessories that we offer. We've got a basic VESA wall mount that's available, so you can just mount it right to the wall. Or you can also use that same wall mount to attach the interactive flat panel to a rolling cart or our motorized cart. The rolling cart just gives you the capability to, move the interactive flat panel to the side of the room if it's not really being used that day, or you can move it down the hall to another classroom. The motorized cart allows you to use a remote control to raise and lower the screen itself. So depending on the speaker that is presenting at the time, you can move it up or down. There's also 2 presets in there that can be locked into place. So you just push a button, it goes to that preset. Roland mentioned the slot-in PCs that are available. We have an i5 and an i7 processor available. We also have 2 different storages on those units as well. So 128 gigabytes or 256 gigabytes, depending on which system you purchase. We offer the Wi-Fi Bluetooth module that comes with the interactive flat panel today, but it's one of the freebies, but you can also buy that as an add-on at a later date. Right now, it's just a promo for the free giveaway, but in the future, you might have to purchase that separately. Also, we have a wireless speakerphone that's available. That's Bluetooth. It has a 16 microphone array, so it covers 360-degree area within the room, within 16 feet of the speaker. And the speaker can be adjusted to be as loud as you want it to be or as low as you want it to be. It's very clear speaker, and the microphone has great pickup capabilities as well. We also have a 4K webcam. Basically, it is plug it in with the USB cable, and that can play 4K video at 30 frames per second. Also, to recap what Roland mentioned about the 3 different ways that you can use the interactive flat panels. One, just as a large tablet or smartphone. So all those features and capabilities, everybody's used to using that. So that's part of the ease of use. It's very easy to start up with because you're using that technology already. But on top of that, you do have the creative board, and you also have the ability to open up that browser and drag and drop videos and images right to your presentation. If you add a PC or a notebook computer, it's a large interactive display. All you have to do is connect the HDMI cable for the video and audio and a USB cable for the interactivity. So when you touch the board, you're controlling the connected computer. And also it can be functioned as an all-in-one PC if you add the slot-in PC. So just slide that into the back of the IFP, you're ready to go.
Yeah, something I failed to mention during the live demo, just like to add at this point, we've built in a whole load of mobile device sharing tools as well. So I see some questions coming in the chat box. Yes, you can wirelessly cast from your Apple, iPhone, iPad, as well as Android phones and tablets, and from PCs, MacBook, Chromebook, etc. So we do have a whole world of wireless casting features built in. I just forgot to mention that during the live demo.
Awesome. And yes, Creative Cast. That is the ability. If the student has a smartphone or they have a tablet they have in the room, perhaps they're in the back of the room and they can't see one of the details on the screen, they can use the tablet or smartphone and view what's on that screen and then magnify it or expand it on their smartphone or tablet and view that content, along with being able to cast information from their smartphone to the screen itself. AirShare, we just did the quiz with that. That's the ability to just share information with the teacher. They can ask questions and get responses back and find out how well the students are learning the information that's being presented. There's also the screen recorder. So we just push a button on the screen and start recording the session itself. So again, one of the key things that we talked about was Google Classroom integration. So you have the single sign-on, you have the quick response code, a QR code that allows you to automatically connect when you have your phone up to the screen, take a picture of it, and you go right to that, and you can access the Google Classroom. Also, the drag and drop the images. Basically, what you can do with the browser is drag and drop the images. The quick launch pen we talked about, just pick up the pen and start writing. Customizing the floating toolbar is also an option. And then also the easy access to Google Drive, OneDrive, and Dropbox access.
Yeah, during the live demo, I failed to mention that the QR code only allows sign-on for Google. If you want to embed your Microsoft OneDrive or your Dropbox, you can embed that right into the file system. You can basically sign on and all your files get integrated right into the file system of the board. But the QR code only functions for an Optoma account or your Google account. But it's by far and away the easiest way to sign into your Google account is via the QR code.
Great. So some of the things that we do to support schools and education, we do try to be very competitive with our pricing. Right now, we have a number of programs out there. I'll talk about a few of them, but we want to make sure that we have the most affordable pricing out there so you can afford the technology in the classroom. We also have on-site warranty. Basically, it's we'll walk you through any type of service problem that you may have. We'll go, help you with any demos that you need. But on the service side, you can call in, ask questions. We're glad to help out. If there is a problem that we can't resolve over the phone, it's an on-site service warranty claim that we would work with. Again, the virtual demos, the in-person demos. We have unlimited virtual training, so you can contact Roland or myself, and we can, do some training with you online. Also, in-person training and professional development. So if you want to develop some type of coursework, we could set up times to, do some training for the teachers.